I was planning to come back to Boise State, but like a month before we came back, they shut the program down. We actually had an email. We had our group chat was blowing up. Everyone was like, check your emails. And we got an email saying our program was just done. Took a few days to even for it to soak in really. But from there, just trying to find a place to play.
When did you first start playing baseball?
From the time I can remember, like playing in the living room with my older brothers. I have two older brothers, and we just play wolf ball in the living room.
How'd your parents feel about playing baseball in the living room?
There's a lot of broken. We broke a couple TVs. We broken some windows, so worked out though.
Why did you never move the game outside?
It just, I don't know, living room was always fun.
Did that eat into your allowance growing up?
No, not that I knew about.
You played with your brothers. How much influence have they had on your playing career?
Huge influence. Just from the time I was little, I just wanted to be like both of them growing up, and they always did it, and I was always at a baseball field, whether I was playing or watching them, so it's just something I grew up into.
Your brother Tyler was drafted by the Dodgers in 2017. What have you learned from his experience with the game?
Just everything. He used to be a catcher when he was younger, and in college he ended up being, or in high school and college, he's an outfielder, and just going to him with anything, he'll call me, give me advice, just talk about hitting. He'll mainly help me with like hitting, but just overall with the game, he's been a big mentor to me.
So you have Tyler, and what's your other brother's name?
Ryan.
Ryan, is Ryan still playing baseball?
He's not. He played in high school, but he didn't play in college.
Why?
He just found a different. He just had a different passion. He didn't. I think he could have, but he didn't love it as much.
You were named North Idaho Baseball Player of the Year as a junior. What schools were recruiting you in high school?
I didn't talk to too many schools out of high school. Mainly, I talked to my brother's old school, alma mater at San Diego State, and then Boise State, which is in the same conference. A couple junior colleges and looking at their schools, but no offers with scholarships to bigger schools really.
You were a Player of the Year in your state. Why do you think you weren't getting a lot of attention?
It's just in a small town. If you know Idaho baseball is, I was in my town, Grangeville, is like 3,000 people. So it's grown now. There's about 4,000, but it's just a smaller town, so there's not as much exposure.
How many kids did you go to high school with?
I like to say my class was around 70 or 80 to start, and then it dropped down to like 50 or 60 at the end. And that was one of the bigger classes for the school.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You said that it was a small town, that's why you didn't get a lot of attention. Were there other opportunities with baseball, travel, other teams that you could have played on at that time?
Each summer I played in somewhere different, like moving up a step. My first one I played locally and with a team in Lewiston. Then I went to Spokane with the travel ball team there. And then my senior year I played in a college league in Canada.
What was that experience like?
It was really cool. It was the first time staying with the host family, like being away from home, and so it was really cool.
Where in Canada was it?
Fort McMurray.
Where is that?
I couldn't tell you. I have no clue where it's at on.
Western Canada, Eastern Canada?
I have no clue where it's at. I just went and played and traveled. I don't know where it's at on the.
Just got on a plane and were like, I'm just going to go to Canada.
Yeah, it was all new to me. It's all the same. I've never been to Canada, so it's.
Was that your first time leaving the country?
Yeah, it's the first time leaving the country.
Have you traveled out of the country since?
I don't think so. No, not that I can remember.
Where did you end up playing your freshman season of college?
At Boise State. That was the COVID year, and we played 15 games, and then, as you know, everything got shut down, and it was a mess from there.
Yeah. How hard was it after that COVID season with things being shut down to get back into the groove of baseball?
Well, we actually played summer ball in the Northwoods that summer. So I went to the Northwoods, and I was planning to come back to Boise State, but like a month before we came back, they shut the program down. We actually had an email. We had our group chat was blowing up. Everyone was like, check your emails. And we got an email saying our program was just done.
They just
out of nowhere.
Got rid of baseball.
So baseball's done. The last minute I had to find a new home.
Why did they get rid of the team?
I don't know. That was actually our first year back. So those 15 games we played were our first year back in like 40 years. So it was a new program. So my class was the first class that started up. And I don't know the deep down reason, but I think they said funding, but no clue.
What was your reaction when you got that email saying, hey, the team doesn't exist anymore?
We had a couple teammates that I played with that were on that summer ball team, so we're trying to just kind of give them a call and really just getting our feet under ourselves, and took a few days to even for it to soak in really, but from there just trying to find a place to play. We didn't know if I was going to go back to Boise and just train, that was my option, or go to junior college. Those are pretty much the two I was weighing between.
What did you end up doing?
I ended up going to junior college in Texas, San Jacinto.
How did you end up there?
It's actually a funny story, or not a funny story, but a really cool story. I don't know if do you know who Devin Schmelter is? He's a left-hand pitcher for the Twins. So he was with the Dodgers. I don't know if you've ever heard the story. There's a kid that beat cancer with Chase Utley in the locker room, and he ended up getting called up to the big leagues. But him and my brother were roommates at spring training with the Dodgers, and he played at San Jac. So when my brother posted on his story, hey, this program shut down, if anyone was looking for a catcher, then he reached out to the San Jac coaches, and they ended up watching me a little bit, and they liked what they saw, and it worked out.
Your brother posted on his story that you were looking for a team. On
social media, just saying, kind of just explaining the situation, and so Devin, they were pretty close, and then he reached out to the San Jac coaches for me.
How many other people helped reach out to teams on your behalf after seeing that post from your brother?
I don't know if I was probably more of a rare occurrence there, because Devin went there, so he just reached out hey, just to check him out, because he didn't know me as a player, but he just said, hey, look into him. He's kind of put in a good word for me, and then they just watched me a little bit.
When did the coach from San Jac call you?
I like to say a week or two after it all got shut down. So it took it felt like forever to me, because I didn't know where I was going, and I had a couple of weeks to figure out where I was going to go to school, really.
How did you feel when you finally had your new home?
I was excited. I didn't know what to think, because I didn't get to visit the campus. Usually when you go somewhere, that's a big life decision. You like to come visit the campus, meet the coaches, but it's just something I had to do over the phone and just kind of take a chance.
What was your first reaction when you set foot on campus?
The first time I stepped foot on campus, we walked into, it was like a gymnasium. We're in the basketball gymnasium. It was still COVID, so everyone was spread out. So I walked into the gym, and there was I saw the whole bleachers filled, but it's they're spread out, so it looked like a lot more people. I'm like, wow, this is a lot of people. And I fully walked in, and the rest of the team was on the backside so it was just packed full of kids. And I was like, I don't know what I'm getting into. There's 60-something kids there. It was a really good JUCO too, so I knew it was gonna be competitive. But yeah, I didn't know what to think coming into it.
Did you have to try? There are 60 people. Obviously, they're not 60 people on a baseball team. Did you have to try out once you got there? Yeah,
so they make cuts in the fall. They I think there was, there's 5 or 6 catchers, and then all the other positions, there's always multiple guys there. And then you play throughout the fall, and then from there they kind of get a good idea of who's going to be on the team.
How many catchers did they end up keeping on the roster?
We had 3. We have 3 total. And 2, yeah.
At what point did Oklahoma State start showing interest in you?
I committed really early in the fall. So we'd play other colleges. My first game there, I had a really good game. I think I went 4 for 4, had 2 home runs and a double. And then after that, I didn't play in any more fall games, because I think they knew I was going to be their guy. And then within a week, I was talking to Oklahoma State.
You hadn't even been at JUCO for a semester, and Oklahoma State was already showing interest in you.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It was pretty cool. It was exciting. It's really exciting.
Why did you decide to come here?
Just coaching staff. Same thing here. I didn't get to come visit campus. I saw pictures, and obviously it's beautiful. But in person it's so much better here. But just talking to all the coaches. I grew up a huge Matt Holliday fan, and then talking to him on the phone, I was like, it's pretty easy to get sold on that. Then the rest of the coaching staff, their background, just how just how like authentic it felt, and they were just very open with everything. When I got here, it's everything that I thought.
Why didn't you get to come visit campus?
It was just the middle, like we're just really busy at school, and I just knew I wanted to come, so I didn't even need to visit. I came from not knowing where I was going to go to being able to come here, so I just knew that's where I wanted to be.
You said you were a big Matt Holliday fan. You grew up in Idaho. How much did you really know about the Oklahoma State baseball program growing up?
So, well, I grew up in Los Angeles, and I moved to Idaho in high school.
Okay.
But then my senior year, I went to Canada, and we had I don't know if you know who Max Hewitt is. He was a catcher here before. I played with Max in Canada. So that's how I originally like knew about Oklahoma State, and I kind of followed them because I was following Max. And then just from there, you always know that the program's really good. There's a rich history of good baseball here. So, but yeah, that's probably one of the bigger things, just knowing Max, and I always trained with Max. And he always talked about how they did things here.
Did you call Max when you found out you were going to play here?
And they're in the middle of season, so I messaged him and I gave him a phone call, and there's congrats. And I didn't know if he was gone the year I got here, so like we always stay in touch. And he comes in, he always trains here as well, so I see him a lot.
What was the biggest adjustment you had to make when you moved to Stillwater?
As far as like living, there was not much adjustments. Like since I was little, I've moved a ton. Like each year, I'm pretty sure since growing up, I've been at like say 5 or 6 different schools, just like following my brother, I lived in Florida for a little bit, so like traveling wasn't a big deal. Biggest thing is probably baseball, just getting used to just the higher level of competition, of that being like just a normal thing.
Why were you moving so much when you were little?
When I was little, like my brother would transfer schools. Like I started when I was 12. I played in Florida. I lived with my coaches and their family. So like on and on, I'd be homeschooled. I'd go see my family for a month, come back and train in Florida. And then that was when I was 12, and then 13. I like to say he moved high schools. He went from Culver City to Mater Dei. Then I followed him there, and then just kind of pretty much for my brothers, just traveling for baseball and moving, work, like my dad's work, whatever it was, there's always like something coming up.
Your parents were in LA while you and your brother were in Florida.
It was just me in Florida.
Just you in Florida?
Yeah.
How hard was that for you as a 12-year-old to live literally across the country from your family?
It was pretty fun.
It's fun.
I loved it, yeah. I'd go fishing. I'd always go fishing. The family I stayed with was awesome. They took care of me. I'd obviously stay in contact with my family, call them every day and do my school. But I'm sure it might have been harder for my mom, like when I've talked to her, it's been probably harder for her to just let a little 12-year-old go off and train and play baseball. But I'd fly back and forth. And for me, I was with my friends, like playing baseball. It was a good time.
Why do you think your parents allowed you to go and live across the country by yourself as a 12-year-old?
I think it helped having my older brothers. Like they knew, like he never did that, but like just having an older brother, like knowing his goals and knowing my goals. Like I knew from a young age I wanted to play at a high level, play professional baseball, play college baseball. So like that was just part of it, and it's a cool experience to do.
What's the age difference between you and your brothers?
I have 5 and 3, and I'm the youngest.
How did you fit in with the team when you arrived here in Stillwater?
It's like, I think it's the same every year. You just kind of slowly get to know guys and get more comfortable with everyone. But I think we fit in pretty well. I think like a couple days into it, David Mendham coming up and making jokes to me before I even knew him. So that pretty much set the tone for the year. But we fit in pretty good. Last year we meshed together pretty quickly, I'd say.
Where do you think you've made the biggest impact?
Just being able to lead the pitching staff. All our catchers do a good job. Ian does a really good job with that, but just being able to work with the pitching staff, because you have so many different guys. Like you have young guys coming in, trying to work with those guys, getting their feet wet, and just having them slow the game down, and then just being able to control the game behind the plate.
What does a catcher have to do to lead a pitching staff?
just knowing each one of your pitchers are different. They have different cues. Some guys need to be yelled at on the mound. Some guys need to be like calmed down. Everyone's different. So you have to go out there and know each one of your pitchers. A lot of them have different adjustments. Just knowing all of that.
Talked about seeing photos of the facilities and how they are way better in person. What's it like playing in a packed O'Brate Stadium?
There's nothing like it.
Come on, go, ball. Yeah!
Last year was awesome. The regionals, and just the entire season, it was just a fun atmosphere.
What are your hobbies outside of baseball?
I like to trade gloves. I like buy, sell, and trade gloves, and then just anything outdoor. I like fishing. We go fishing a lot.
Where do you find these gloves that you buy and trade?
It's all over. I have an Instagram account that I trade and sell them on. So if you go to the locker room, half my gloves are I trade with all the guys.
You trade your gloves or other people's gloves?
Well, just in general, with them. I probably have 250 gloves. Yeah, I have a lot.
Who are some of the biggest names, players of gloves that you have?
Like big leaguers?
Yeah.
There's a Cody Bellinger glove in there. It's Jordy Mercer. There's a couple of those. Matt Holliday. I'm trying to think who else I have. There's a few other ones back home. I can't.
Where do you keep all of them?
They're everywhere. We stay in a nice house here that there's literally just a room full of gloves. It's called the glove room. And then back home we have one as well.
How do your roommates feel about the glove room?
I think they like it. I hope they like it, but it's just we live in a really nice house with one of our pitchers. So they made it for me. They moved all the gloves in before I came up. So
who's they?
Two of our pitchers, Bowen Bridges and Ryan Bogus.
They moved all of the gloves in.
Yeah, when I had to move from one of our old apartments, I left all the gloves there.
250.
Yeah.
How did you get started in that hobby?
When I was 12, I bought a glove with allowance money I had, and then it was an infield glove. I never played infield. I used it, and then ended up playing catch with it, and I sold it and made $20, selling it on eBay. And then from there, I kind of just started doing it, make $20 here and there. And pretty soon I had 2 gloves, and then from there, just kept doing that. Then as a little kid, I never had any bills, so I just kept reinvesting that pretty much.
Whose glove would you love to add to your collection?
Robin Ventura. I've been working on this for a while, so you have to show him that. Yeah, I've been hounding him for 2 years. So hopefully we'll get one in.
Why do you think he hasn't said yes yet?
Because he likes to mess with me a little bit, so he's holding off, I think.
Have you offered to share some of the profit with him if you were to resell it?
I would keep it. I wouldn't sell his glove. Yeah, his would stay on the shelf.
Does he know that?
He knows that.
Why Robin Ventura?
Because he's the man. I mean, his name speaks for itself, his career, and he's helped me a ton here too. So it'd be cool to have that in the glove room.
Who's your favorite player, past or present, in the big leagues?
I grew up an Angels fan, so it's easy to say Mike Trout. So growing up there, I'd always go to games, and I think he's a lot of people's favorite player, but I'd say Mike Trout, JT Realmuto. I know he's committed here, so that's cool when I found that out.
Do you know who his uncle is?
I do. That's pretty cool.
Who's his uncle, for those who might not know?
The wrestling coach. I had a class with him.
You had class with JT?
No, with his uncle.
With his uncle?
Yeah,
okay.
last year. So
what class?
I can't even remember, but it was fun.
How far do you think this Oklahoma State team can go this season?
I think we could make a good run for it. All the pieces are coming together. Our pitching staff is doing really well. We have some injuries on guys that are coming back, so there's kind of a rough stretch in the middle of the season that we struggled with, but everything's starting to come together, and we're getting hot at the right time, so it'll be fun to make a run for it.
What would it mean to you to get to play in Omaha?
Oh, it'd be awesome. That's everyone's dream.
Have you ever been to Omaha?
I have not.
What have you heard about it?
Ben, one of our pitchers that transferred from Oklahoma, Ben Abram, him explaining it is something that pretty much we need to get there.
How has he explained it to you?
There's just nothing like it. Just the crowd, the atmosphere, just the energy there.
You've only been here about 2 seasons. What do you hope your legacy is whenever you leave Oklahoma State?
Just being a good teammate, just doing everything I can, left everything on the field, hard worker.
How hard was it to lead the pitching staff this year after losing so many pitchers after last season?
I'd say each year's pretty similar. Like the more you catch guys, the more you get more comfortable. You know where they're missing, you know where they're gonna, like what their cues are, like we talked about. And just that relationship you build with them after catching them a certain amount of times, like it helps a lot. So every year's a new year, like new guys come in, or you have your older guys that you caught last year, but it's more so just getting to know them, and once you do, it's really fun.
Where are you batting in the lineup?
In the 4-hole.
How do you feel about that spot?
It's pretty cool. It's exciting. If you guys told me last year I'd be in the 4-hole, I wouldn't believe you. So it's been fun.
Where were you batting last year?
9.
How different are those 2 spots in the order?
Really, there's nothing. I don't really think anything different of it. You all see the same pitcher. Like whether I was in the 9-hole, the 4-hole, like it's just I'm gonna see the same guy. They might pitch you a little different, like being in the 4-hole versus 9-hole, but it's all the same. You see the same pitchers.
You just seem a little bit more excited to be in the 4-hole than you were in the 9-hole.
I think anybody would, but probably just last year, if I was catching, I knew I was gonna be in the 9-hole. So just this year, working my way out of that, because that's how I started in the beginning of the season, was the 9-hole. I think just catchers in general usually tend to be in the 9-hole, and then ended up working out where I found my way out of it.
Why do you think catchers tend to be 9?
Just because it's a lot more stress on your body, and their main goal is like as a catcher, my main goal is to take care of the pitcher, and that's my main focus. So,
what do you do to take care of a pitcher?
Just making sure like our routine before the game is playing catch with them, catching their bullpen, just making sure they're ready, and then really just handling them in the game. They bounce balls, you block them, throw guys out, like whatever you need to do, make sure you're with them, and then the hitting will come second.
Early this season, there were a couple combined no-hitters. What are the challenges of being a catcher when you're working with 3, 4, 5 different pitchers in a game?
It's not really, that's just a normal part of the game, so I don't really see it as a challenge. Just when the new guy comes in, you just gotta, I wouldn't say there's really any challenges, because that's just a normal game. So when there's no hitter, when we did that was really cool. And when you have no hitter, the game goes by quick too. There's no one on base, and it's fun. Easier on your legs, less time out there, so it goes by smooth.
Started your career at Boise State, team got nixed, moved to JUCO, and now you're here. What have you learned about yourself over this unique career path that you've had?
For me, it's just finding that confidence, like knowing no matter where I go, no matter what level I play at, that I could compete, and I will compete out there, and that's just been fun.
You said you really wanted a Robin Ventura glove. What is your relationship with him like?
He's pretty open. If you're around him, he's like the energy he brings. It's always amazing. But say I look up to him a lot. He's an idol. Like we grew up and you knew who he was. He's a big leaguer for a long time. He's really good at what he does. And then having him on staff it's pretty awesome. So we didn't think we were gonna have him back this year, but when we got him back, everyone in the locker room was really excited.
What have you learned from him as a coach?
I don't know if there's like one specific thing I could put. He's just every day you come to the field, you're always learning something from him. Whether it's just something like a mindset, or he's helped me a lot hitting mainly. Just from last year, there's a lot of adjustments to be made. So I spent a lot of time with him hitting, just trying to pick his brain as much as I can.
He also advocated for you to move up in the lineup to 4. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. I didn't know that until just now, but it's pretty cool.
So I'll move you up in the lineup but not give you a glove.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll have to talk to him, but I've been trying, trust me.
When do you graduate?
I have a couple more classes this summer I'm planning on take, just depending on the rest of the year goes, really.
Maybe a late graduation present. I'll
Yeah,
give you a glove.
that'd be cool. Hoping for it.
You work with Rob a lot, Rob Walton. How does that help you manage pitchers and build that rapport?
Say from this year to last, he's helped me. Last year, he mostly, like Victor and Josh, would work with the catchers. Rob's helped me a lot this year, like breaking down film, looking at different positioning. Like mostly for me, just as a catcher, like he's helped me a ton. But yeah, him with the pitchers, he does a great job. He's another guy you want to pick his brain as much as you can and learn from him.